Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning into Do You Know What the Fuck You're Doing? This is episode 2, and we are with Danielle Guy. Danny is an old friend of mine, and I'm going to let Danny introduce herself a little bit. So tell us a little bit about what your hustle is.
Okay. So I have two hustles besides my main job as a sommelier. So I am a director for theater, and I am also a sexual educator. Mostly I'm based in Nova. For a while I was in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. But the two that I am working with right now currently is Dominion Stage out of Arlington and Little Theater of Alexandria.
Very cool. And sexual educator, would you like to tell us a little bit about what that means?
Yeah, so I work with a sex boutique that is very based on education and destigmatizing or showing sex positivity.
So the two freelance things that you do are theater director and sex educator. So what would you say your directorial style is? What's your artistic style?
I try to go naturalistic as much as I can, which is the base of thought where you want the actors to be very human.
So would you want to do Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella?
No.
Would you say you want to make people uncomfortable, but in a consensual way?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm definitely of the thought that if theater is not invoking some truth, why do it?
I think my main question is, do you know what the fuck you're doing?
Yes and no.
Okay.
What I do know, I know how to direct. I've been doing it for 10 years now. And of course, that's like something that you're always learning.
What do you feel has been your biggest learning curve?
What I really didn't know when I came to the DC area was how insular everything was. A lot of people don't realize when they think of acting or theater, they think, oh, New York or, LA. But DC has its own scene. It's a lot of people who work in DC, they end up going to New York, they end up going to LA, and they'll come on back every now and then for random seasons.
This is very much its own scene. The Helen Hayes Awards, I think,
Yeah.
are based here. This is a place where people end up because they're talented, because they want to be here.
So when you're in West Virginia, which was a very good experience, that's really where I was able to, get my feet wet, learn my style, make mistakes, but it was definitely lower stakes, it felt. Because community theater up there, it's very much like, oh, this is my hobby, this is my pastime. But then you come here and it's like, even with community theater, people are like, no, this is my life. So I had to definitely adjust to how serious people take it.
All right. So in what area of your career do you feel confident? Because we talk a lot about what we don't know, but I don't want this to be a show about false humility. I want this to be a show about learning, and I want this to be a show about genuine confidence. So I know that there's so many things that you're good at. What do you feel that you are confident in?
I'm very confident in my leadership skills and also being able to guide people. I'm also good at being organized.
Amongst artists is something that is a very, very rare skill set.
I'm very good at admitting when I'm wrong, which is something I've definitely had to learn over time. I'm so bad at it.
No, but you're good at it now. So I'm going to change gears a little bit, and I'm going to talk to you about something that I know that you're also passionate about. This is sex education.
I had a lot of sexual trauma from a very young age, and trying to navigate being a woman, a bisexual woman, and how I helped myself was through education. And one of my favorite things is when you read these books, especially Come As You Are is a phenomenal book, where it's saying you think that you are alone in your sexual identity if you think that there's something wrong with you, but you are so not alone. There are millions of women who feel the exact same way that you are, and the more that we can actually vocalize that and be like, oh, me too, then that will really help destigmatize the conversations that we can have. So one of those things where both with my sexual education and also with theater, and I think that theater really needs to get better about this, is the idea of consent And as simple as, may I touch your arm? May I put my hand on your back so I can help guide you and show you how I would like you to move in this scene? Just over asking is a wonderful way to start.
Right.
May I ask you this question? You know.
And I feel like 90% of the time the answer is like, duh. Part of the reason why I started this little mini series is because I've been logging onto social media a lot, in addition to rewatching all my favorite series, sitting on my couch, drinking, and petting my cats. Seriously feeling some FOMO. How come everybody else knows what they're doing, and how come everybody else is so awesome? We exist in the artistic sphere, but we exist in different parts of it. I'm a musician, you're a director, and you're also an actress. Is FOMO real in the theater scene? And if so, how do you deal with it?
Oh my God, yes. There's so much FOMO.
Okay.
Like, it's hard sometimes with people that I went to school with, or I don't know, who I knew in high school. And it's like, oh, we're all in the theater and we're all, you know, equal. And then it's like, oh, and you went to Helen Hayes. Just, but yeah, it's definitely for the longest time, because I'm such a competitive individual, my FOMO would come out as jealousy. And it's something during quarantine that I've definitely been working hard at, where it's like, no, just because that they got recognized doesn't mean that it diminishes my worth as a director, as an artist. And so I'm happy now to be celebrating with that person and raising them up for the badass bitches that they are, instead of sitting there like, good for you.
And I also think that if you talked to people who worked with you, or who went to school with you, or who knew you, they would also say you've been a huge inspiration. So yeah, that's what we should all realize, is that Instagram is fake. How has COVID treated your industry, and how has COVID treated you? And what's the intersection there?
Yeah. So the industry, it's really rough right now. Theater is going to be very different when we come out of COVID. We might have more of an internet-based subscription, so people can access theater. Because I will say theater is kind of a bougie thing.
And I think it's a huge oxymoron to have expensive theater. Like, I get that artists need to be paid. I'm an artist, you're an artist, but the idea that art should be only accessible to rich people is fucked up.
I personally took a moment of reflection and made a pact with myself that I will never again direct a show if it's completely whitewashed. I think that COVID has been a great moment for artists to step back and look at the state of the world and determine how that is going to change them and change how they do their art.
So, Danny, I am so glad to talk to you today as a director of theater in the DC, Northern Virginia area. I just want to ask you one more question. Do you have any advice?
Just admitting that you don't know what you're doing and that you're lost is a wonderful step. There is a level of shame that comes with not knowing, which is ridiculous.
Right. When you say that you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you're not saying I'm stupid. You're saying I would like help. I want to know what the fuck I'm doing.
Fucking up is so important.
Fucking up is so important. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Danielle Guy. Danielle Guy is a director and a sex educator in the DC, Northern Virginia area. Say thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your rosé on this Zoom call with me. Cheers.
Cheers.
Do you know what the fuck you're doing?
No, I don't.
Same.